Hello, Kingslayers. I see you. The ones who didn't just knock on the gates. They brought fire, kicked them open, and left the throne rooms in silence. Welcome to the aftermath. You didn't just dethrone the Dawn. You annihilated him in broad daylight, left his legacy bleeding in the streets, and then with ash on your tongue, turned to the crowd and whispered, "Who's next?" See, the world wasn't ready for that. They built this illusion around the Dawn, called him untouchable, said his name like a prayer, feared it like a curse. And then you walked in, not with an army, but with precision, patience, and pain. The kind of pain they never saw coming because it wore no armor, just a grin laced with resolve. And when the smoke cleared, you weren't panting, you weren't limping, you were staring dead into the souls of every spectator who thought they were safe, because they weren't in the fight. But that's the thing about power. When you destroy it, the echo doesn't stop. It travels. It seeps into rooms you've never entered, into minds that swore you'd never matter. And now, they can't sleep. Not because the Dawn is gone, but because you're still standing. They thought killing a Dawn meant you'd become the new one. But you didn't sit on his throne. You burned it. You didn't inherit his rules. You shredded them. Because you were never here to rule their world. You came to end it. And when you looked around at the so-called kings, lords, and generals waiting for you to slip, you didn't ask for peace. You asked, "Who's next?" This wasn't about vengeance. No. This was about message. You don't hunt power because it wronged you. You hunt it because it pretends to be permanent. You hunt it because it forgets that the ones underneath can rise. And when they do, it's not with banners and fanfare. It's with silence. A silence so heavy, it makes gods nervous. And here you are, the architect of collapse, the bringer of reckoning. They call it chaos, but chaos has rhythm. And that rhythm, that's you. They tried to predict your next move. Mistake number one, you don't move, you shift. You bend the board, flip the game, rewrite the stakes. The Dawn thought he had pawns. You taught him the king bleeds too. And now the whole hierarchy is shivering, trying to decide if they should run, kneel, or pretend they don't see you standing there with blood on your boots and dust in your lungs. Funny how they always assumed the quiet ones were harmless. That silence meant submission. But yours was the kind of silence that collects names like bullets. Yours was the stillness before the ground caves in. And when they finally heard your voice, it wasn't screaming, it was questioning, calm, icy, terrifying. Who's next? They want to brand you now, label you a problem, a monster, because that's easier than admitting they built a system so corrupt. It birthed its own executioner, that you were a result, not a rebellion, a product of pressure, betrayal, and being overlooked one time too many. See, the Dawn didn't fall because you hated him. He fell because you understood him. You studied the blueprint, memorized the cracks, and chose the exact moment to strike. No mercy, no announcement, just a scalpel through the Empire's artery. And now, they're gathering, whispering, realigning, desperate to resurrect the hierarchy. But every time they meet in shadowy rooms and echo chambers, one name keeps surfacing. Not his, yours. They're asking each other the wrong questions. How did he fall? Where did we go wrong? But the real question, the one they won't ask out loud, is, what if the next one he calls out is me? Because when you said, "Who's next?" it wasn't a threat. It was a prophecy. You weren't provoking. You were promising. A storm doesn't apologize for raining, and you've become the forecast they can't predict, the weather they can't control. Every empire believes it's eternal, until it rots from within. You just accelerated the decay, held up the mirror, made them see their reflection without the makeup. And when the dawn cracked, the others saw themselves in his crumble. That's why they're panicking. That's why your name isn't being cursed. It's being feared. You didn't need a crowd. You didn't need applause. The silence after the fall was louder than any standing ovation, because deep down, they knew. The dawn wasn't the end. He was the first on the list. You walk differently now. Not heavier, but anchored, purpose in every step. And when they look into your eyes, they don't see revenge. They see calculation. They see the map to their own collapse. That's why they won't confront you. That's why they'll send others, pawns dressed as challengers, hoping one of them gets lucky. But luck doesn't stand a chance against inevitability. You are inevitability. The Dawn's legacy was fear. Yours, it's doubt. Doubt in every leader's voice. Doubt in every soldier's stance. Doubt in every system that thought it was immune. You didn't just shatter a man. You infected an institution. And the best part? You're not done. The list is long. The halls of power echo with names that forgot what humility sounds like. And you're walking down those halls, slowly, deliberately, leaving footprints in places no one dared enter. So let them prepare. Let them circle wagons, sharpen knives, pray to their false gods. Because preparation means nothing when the storm doesn't knock. It just enters. You don't warn, you arrive. And when you do, you don't ask for surrender. You simply look at the next self-crowned monarch and ask, "Ready?" Because your silence wasn't weakness. It was incubation, and now the awakening has begun. They used to call themselves untouchables, sat in rooms lined with velvet, guarded by protocol and paranoia. But now those rooms feel colder. Because ever since you turned the first name into dust, every ceiling above their heads has started to crack. And no matter how many rituals they perform, how many bodyguards they hire, how many press conferences they stage, the cracks don't stop. They thought power was a fortress. They forgot that even fortresses rot when the foundation is made of fear. You weren't just born for this. You were forged in it, and every betrayal, every dismissal, every laugh they threw at your silence, it became steel. They built the empire thinking you'd bow, and instead you became the reckoning written between the lines of their carefully crafted lies. Now they shuffle papers faster. They look over their shoulders more often, because your ghost walks ahead of you. They hear your name in whispers behind closed doors, not because it's scandal, but because it's signal. You don't make noise, you shift gravity. And the ones who still think they're safe, they're just slower to realize they've already been marked. Because you don't announce yourself with fanfare. You arrive in patterns. A disruption here, a fall there. And before they know it, the structure they've clung to like gospel starts to feel unfamiliar. The symmetry breaks. The routine bleeds. The hierarchy stutters. And suddenly, the dawn they buried with so much ceremony feels like the first chapter of an unraveling scripture. You didn't take the throne to sit. You took it to break. And they can't comprehend that. Their world is built on inheritance. Yours is built on interruption. They hold meetings to understand you, hire analysts to dissect your next move. But they don't realize your next move isn't a move. It's a mindset. You don't play the game. You erase it, line by line, rule by rule. And now, there's a new fear crawling through their ranks. The fear that maybe, just maybe, they were never in control. You see, control is a beautiful illusion. It tastes like order and smells like safety. But the moment you step into the room, that illusion buckles. Because you don't follow the scent of blood like a predator. You follow the silence. You find the cracks. You become the shadow in every corner they thought was empty. They're starting to talk about restoring the order, about retaliation. Funny how the first thing a broken system does when it gets hit is pretend it still works. But you already knew that. You counted on it. Because you're not chasing them. You're letting them panic, letting them expose their weaknesses, letting them guess. Because that's your real weapon. Not rage, not revenge, unpredictability. They trained themselves to fight storms. But you became the virus in their software, the anomaly in their order, the math that doesn't add up. And now they're unraveling, quietly, elegantly, tragically. The new ones they send? Puppets, with glossy smiles and trembling hands, hoping their youth will hide their ignorance. They speak in pre-written lines, talk about reform, paint you as the villain in carefully curated press releases. But the people aren't blind anymore. You opened their eyes the moment you asked that question, who's next? Because that question wasn't for them. It was for everyone else watching, the ones in the middle, the ones too scared to rise and too aware to kneel. And now they're leaning forward, inching closer to your flame. Not because they want to burn, but because they're tired of freezing under a system that never saw them. You didn't just create fear, you created hope. And that terrifies them more than your fury ever could. They thought fear would be your weapon. They never imagined your silence would become a rally cry. Now even the loyal are questioning. Even the guards are blinking twice. Because they saw what you did to the Dawn. And they know you didn't do it for power. You did it because he thought he was untouchable. And nothing enrages you more than arrogance wrapped in ceremony. So they rewrite the narrative. Try to paint you as a lone wolf, a freak occurrence, a glitch. But every empire that collapses pretends the collapse started with one stone. They'll never admit they built their walls on borrowed time. Let them lie. Let them pretend. Let them scramble for scapegoats and scapegoat hunters. Because you're still moving. Not loudly, not wildly, but deliberately. You move like consequence. And consequence doesn't knock. It doesn't explain. It arrives. Like the moment a king realizes his crown weighs less than a whisper of truth. Like the moment a general sees his army flinch when your name is mentioned. Like the moment the system stutters when the rules they wrote no longer apply. That's you. They tried to weaponize labels, called you unstable, radical, dangerous, but names only matter in the game of power when people still believe in the board. You smashed the board, scattered the pieces, and now the players are sitting in silence because no one told them how to fight someone who's not playing. You taught them that power isn't about possession, it's about presence. And yours. It doesn't fade, it echoes. Every fallen leader, every stammering speech, every security detail doubled. That's the sound of your echo. They ask themselves, what if they come for me next? But they misunderstand. You're not coming. You're already here, inside their systems, their silence, their shame. You are the mirror they avoid, the question they can't answer, the truth they can't unsee. And now that the dawn's gone, and the illusion of invincibility has shattered like glass on marble, the rest of them are exposed. The robes look thinner, the crowns look fake, the audience sees the strings, and you're not even looking at them. You're watching the next room. Because this war was never about the Dawn. It was about the architecture. He was just the first crack in the cathedral. Now you're looking at the pillars, the ones who stood in the shadows, the ones who thought silence meant survival. But silence doesn't protect, it delays, and you're out of delays. Because you didn't rise to be seen, you rose to change the view. And the view from here? It's trembling. You didn't need a throne to shake the ground. You just needed clarity. Not the kind found in their books or meetings, but the clarity born from watching everything collapse and realizing you didn't flinch. That's the part they don't understand. You didn't just survive the wreckage, you became fluent in it. You made a home in the smoke, a weapon out of the silence, and now you walk through these ruins like you built them. Because maybe you did. You see, they thought destruction was failure, but you knew, sometimes, to cleanse a disease, you don't treat it, you burn it out. And now their temples are trembling. The walls they used to lean on are whispering back at them. Because you didn't leave after the dawn. No, that was just the opening act, a spark. And this is the wildfire. Every name you never spoke, every power you let sit comfortably behind velvet curtains. They're all exposed now. Not because you outed them, but because they exposed themselves. That's what happens when the first domino falls. The rest try to realign. But in their panic, they reveal what they swore to keep hidden. You made exposure contagious. They're scrambling, not because you're near, but because you're quiet. And in your silence, they've heard their own reflections louder than ever. They thought they were hunters, but now they wonder if they were always prey, and just didn't know it yet. You didn't come here to be worshipped. You didn't rise to be remembered. You came because the system wrote you off, buried your name under fake accolades and louder voices, and now you write them off, one by one. Not with chaos, but correction. You're not angry, you're surgical. That's what makes it worse for them, because rage can be dismissed. It burns bright, then dies. But you're cold, focused. You don't shout, you document. You don't threaten, you promise. Every move calculated like a mathematician, solving for collapse. That's why they fear you more than any army. You taught them that a single person with clarity is more dangerous than 1,000 with orders. And now, the orders are unraveling. Their followers are blinking. Their institutions cracking under questions they can no longer answer. They built fortresses with walls made of applause. But the crowd has grown quiet. Why? Because they've seen you, and they've realized some walls don't fall with bombs. They fall when a single person walks through them without permission. You weren't given access, you took it. Now the architects of silence want to speak. Now the self-crowned monarchs want to debate. But their words sound hollow next to your actions. Because while they preach stability, you demonstrated truth. While they decorated shadows, you lit matches. And every time you asked, who's next? You weren't asking to provoke. You were offering an invitation to see who among them still dares to cling to crowns made of ashes, who still thinks authority is immunity, who still believes titles come with thunder. But you've shown them. Thunder means nothing if the lightning already struck. And you've been striking in silence. You moved so quietly, they thought you were gone. But you weren't gone. You were gathering, not people, not weapons, certainty. You knew they'd blame each other before they'd ever blame themselves. You knew they'd tear each other apart trying to rebuild what you didn't even touch. You just revealed. Because that's the real power. You didn't bring destruction, you showed them the mirror. And they destroyed themselves, trying to deny what they saw in it. You are not chaos. You are clarity, and clarity doesn't flinch. Now they send emissaries, diplomats, hollow men with half promises and full smiles, offering you seats at tables you've already burned. Too late. You don't want a seat. You want the floor to cave in. You want roots ripped out, not trimmed. You want truths told, not whispered. You don't want to lead their broken system. You want to ensure no one ever trusts it again. They say you're destroying everything, but what they won't admit is that they gave you the matches. All you did was stop apologizing for using them. They wonder why you're still standing. It's simple. Because you no longer carry shame. You no longer seek validation. You no longer fear being alone, and someone who doesn't need applause can't be controlled. You didn't ask to be the echo in their nightmares. You became it because you stopped waiting to be heard. And now, even the brave hesitate when they speak your name. Not because they doubt your methods, but because they understand them. Because deep down, they know they'd do the same. You didn't corrupt. You corrected. You didn't hate them. You just saw through them. And now, they beg for mercy without using the word, hoping their reshuffled pieces distract you, hoping the new masks they wear confuse you. But you don't get fooled twice. You don't chase shadows. You strip light. You know who they are. You always have. The real fear isn't that you'll strike again. It's that you won't have to. That they'll erode on their own under the weight of the truth you already triggered. Because the game is over. The board is flipped. The pieces are melting, and yet you walk forward, not for vengeance, not for noise, but for justice. The kind that doesn't wear robes, the kind that doesn't need a crowd, the kind that doesn't shout. It arrives. So if you're listening, those of you still hiding behind curtains, stitched with illusion, step forward. You saw what happened to the Don. You saw what happened to the systems that backed him. This isn't a threat. This is your turn. Because the silence is fading, the lies are gasping, and the truth? The truth is walking upright, without armor, without titles, without compromise. The truth is asking, who's next? And if that makes you shiver, good. Because change was never meant to feel comfortable. It was meant to feel like this moment. Where the throne is ashes, where the crowd is quiet, where the last name on the list is starting to sweat. And you're still standing, still watching, still walking. One step closer to the next echo, the next mask, the next illusion begging to be shattered. Because this story didn't end with the Dawn. It started with him. And you're not writing the final chapter. You're writing the next prophecy. Ink it in fire, sign it with silence. Deliver it with eyes that say what no anthem ever could. You dethroned the untouchable. You outlived the inevitable. And now, you ask again, who's next?